Hey everybody, it's Ryan. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, I am going to be starting a new series. We're going to be doing NFL Pick'em every week of the season, starting here with week 1. I'm going to keep track of my record every week as well. We'll tally it up. Next week, I'll tell you what I did this week, next week, and we'll pick next week as well. Next week, obviously, when that comes, but this is week 1. We're going to start off with Thursday Night Football, Texans versus Chiefs to kick us off. Texans obviously losing DeAndre Hopkins is going to be huge. Chiefs, obviously pretty much the same team. At home, I know home field won't play a big factor early on in the season because there'll be no fans at most of these, if not all of these. I'm not sure. Some of these stadiums will have no fans or very limited capacity. But the Chiefs are just too good. They're going to be making another deep run this year. You got to take the Chiefs at home here. Then we have the Jets versus the Bills. Jets coming off of a pretty poor offseason, getting probably worse. Obviously, losing Jamal Adams and C.J. Mosley opting out. It's just not looking good here for the Jets. The Bills, obviously adding Stephon Diggs. Should be interesting to see what Josh Allen and the offense can do. That defense we all know is really good. Got to take the Bills here at home to beat the Jets here in week 1. Then we have the Packers versus the Vikings. This should be a really good game. This is probably the best 1 o'clock game. Packers and Vikings, two teams that are pretty much both the same. You know, they're like not. Yeah, they both have a pretty good defense. They both have a pretty decent offense as well. And they're both division rivals. Obviously, it's gonna be close, but I gotta give it to the Vikings just pretty much for the home field. As I know, it won't play a huge factor, but I just gotta take the Vikings here in week 1. I think they split this season series. I think the Packers win in Lambeau later on. So Vikings here for week 1. Then we have the Eagles, and I just love saying this team's name. We have Eagles versus football team. Eagles, you know, hopefully have a healthy year in store, because if not, they will probably not do great. For the football team, they are rebuilding, and this is just a year that they are going to tank for a QB probably, unless Haskins has a good year. We'll have to see, but it's pretty easy pick here. You got to take the Eagles on the road to smash football team. Football team is going to be terrible. Then you have the Browns versus the Ravens. Browns coming off of a poor season. I do think they will be better this year with a different coach. But I just don't see them beating this crazy Ravens team, obviously coming off of a tough loss to the Titans. I think the Ravens are going to make a deep run this year, if not to the Super Bowl, at least to the conference championship. I will give week 1 here at home to the Ravens. Then we have the Colts versus the Jaguars. Boy, the Jaguars trading pretty much everybody away this offseason. They're going to have a very bad season, in my opinion. Maybe 2 wins, if that. And the Colts, they could be a good team. Obviously, adding Phillip Rivers. We'll see what that offense can do. They should be much improved. And I will take them to beat the Jags pretty easily here on the road as well. Then we have the Raiders versus the Panthers. Raiders coming off of a very good offseason, adding a lot of linebacker depth, and obviously adding Henry Ruggs. Ruggs go fast, am I right, Raiders fans? But then we have the Panthers, who definitely got worse. They did add Teddy Bridgewater. They obviously lost Cam Newton, Greg Olsen, Luke Kuechly retiring. But Christian McCaffrey is still there, and I'm going to pick, because this is a season of upsets, I believe. This is gonna, with all the home field and stuff. I'm going to pick the Panthers to get the upset win here at home. I do like the Raiders this year, but I think this is the game that the Panthers get an upset win in right off the bat in week 1. Then we go to the Bears versus Lions. Bears, obviously, the quarterback situation is not great. Lions, obviously, getting a bunch of signings in the offseason, a bunch of expatriates. We'll see how that can do for them. Matt Stafford's got to be healthy for this team to play good. I just can't. I don't think they'll be terrible. A lot of people say Lions are going to be really bad. I don't think they'll be that bad. But I will take the Bears here in week 1 on the road, just for that defense. That defense is still there. It's still going to be good. It still exists. Then we have the Seahawks versus the Falcons. Seahawks coming off of a pretty good year. We'll see what they can do. I think they make a deep run this year. Falcons coming off of a poor season, but I think they have a bounce-back season. Maybe not make the playoffs, but I think they'll do better this year. I will take them in an upset at home to beat the Seahawks here in week 1. Then we have the Dolphins versus Patriots. Dolphins coming off of a big offseason. They got a lot of new pieces. Obviously, Tua is there, but he will not be starting week 1. It will be Ryan Fitzpatrick As the Patriots obviously lost a lot of pieces, Gronk, Tom, list goes on with the defense, obviously opt-outs as well. But they do add Cam Newton to the team. I still think this is a good team. Maybe not 12 wins or 13 like usual, maybe 9 or 10. I do think the Dolphins just aren't there yet. I think the Patriots get the win here in week 1. I'm a Pats fan if you didn't know that as well. I think they get the W here week 1 at home. If it was on the road, we usually do struggle in Miami. That might be a different story, but I do think we get the win here in week 1. Then we have the Chargers versus the Bengals. Chargers, obviously, interesting offseason, losing Melvin Gordon, drafting a new QB in Justin Herbert. He will not be starting at least for the first probably couple weeks. Tyrod Taylor getting the start to start off the year. Bengals, obviously, Joe Herbert. Joe Burrow. I'm combining him with Justin Herbert. Joe Burrow gonna get the week 1 start. Obviously, the Bengals don't have any good QBs now with Andy Dalton gone. I'm going to take the Bengals at home. I don't know if it's an upset pick. I don't think the Chargers have a great year. I know that's a good defense, but I'm going to take the Bengals here in week 1 to, I guess, upset the Chargers at home. I think that'll be a close game, though, for sure. Then we have the Cardinals versus the 49ers. Cardinals stealing D-Hop from the Texans, high-powering that offense, obviously getting Isaiah Simmons in the draft. They should be fun to watch. But the Niners are just too good. I don't see a Super Bowl hangover happening here, at least in week 1. I've got to give it to this Niners team, that defense. So I take the Niners at home here in week 1. Then we have the Buccaneers versus the Saints. The Buccaneers coming off of a crazy offseason. Obviously, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, and that defense is pretty good as well. Then you got the Saints, who just have a ton of talent. Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, that defense is also pretty good. Marshawn Lattimore's there. Just a bunch of great players on the Saints. I got to take the Saints to beat the Bucs in a close one at home. Then we have the Cowboys versus the Rams. Cowboys coming off of a disappointing season for sure, but they did fire Jason Garrett finally. They have new coach. The Rams coming off of a disappointing season as well. Obviously, Super Bowl runner-up the year prior. I don't think the Rams are going to have a great year this year either. I think the Cowboys will have a bounce-back season and make the playoffs. I take the Cowboys here on the road to beat the Rams here in week 1. Then we have the Steelers versus the Giants. I think this is Monday Night Football now, 2 games. The Steelers coming off of a, decent season, obviously, considering Big Ben was injured. That defense is great. The Giants, I don't think, are a good team yet. They're not there yet. They definitely made improvements here in the offseason, but they're just not there yet for sure. I will take the Steelers to beat the Giants here week 1 on the road. And then the final game, we have the Titans, AFC Championship, runner-up there, against the Denver Broncos, who are coming off of a crazy draft, crazy offseason, adding Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Melvin Gordon. That defense is still pretty decent for the Broncos as well. Titans obviously coming off of the loss. I'm going to take another upset, I guess, here. I'm going to take the Broncos at home. I think they have a pretty decent season. Them and the Titans might have the same record even. 8-8 and 9-7, I think, for both these teams. I'm going to take the Broncos here to win at home. Drew Lock, I think, will have a pretty good season. Definitely check out some of these Broncos players in fantasy. So, that's going to be it for my week 1 picks. As I said, we'll tally them up next week, and we'll go over next week's picks when week 2 comes around. That's going to be it for week 1, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week.